The New York Rangers have a golden opportunity as Chris Drury continues to retool on the fly and try and make this team younger. One of the best prospects in not just the NCAA, but the entire NHL has just become available. We're going to break down who this prospect is, why the Rangers should go out and get him, and what this means for the future of the Rangers. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is free. You get to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the team. So again, go down below, hit that subscribe button. But let's dive right into it. Who am I talking about? It's a very interesting case with the Tampa Bay Lightning and one of their prospects in Isaac Howard, who's regarded as one of the best prospects in the NHL, but it's a very weird situation. He's a former first-round pick from 2022. We'll get into his stats in just a second, but GM Julien BriseBois has said that it is unlikely that Isaac Howard signs with the Bolts. He was asked that if he was a bit surprised because, he seemed optimistic that they were going to be able to get a deal done with one of the best prospects out there right now, and it doesn't seem like it's the case. So he is either going to get traded or walk this summer. So it seems like the Lightning are going to start looking for trade partners, and I think Chris Drury should be all over this because it's going to cost you something. They're not going to give away this prospect for nothing. They're going to be fielding calls. They don't want him to walk. They'll take the comp pick because you get a comp pick if this does happen. But I think they're going to be fielding calls and, try and get something for him in return. So again, I don't think you have to pay. It's not going to be anything crazy, but I think that obviously you're going to have to give something up. But you should be, interested in this. Now, there's a lot of fan reaction out there. I mean, this is from NYR Louis. He said, Braden Schneider, straight up for Isaac Howard, makes a ton of sense for both teams. It might make a lot of sense for the New York Rangers. The Tampa Bay Lightning, but it doesn't make a lot of sense for the New York Rangers whatsoever. I would not make that trade for Isaac Howard. Full disclosure, I'm saying that right now. Now, it does make sense for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I mean, they're a team that, they're in the mix right now. They just made the playoffs. They bowed out to the Florida Panthers in 5 games again. But, Schneider is, really blocked by Fox right now and Borgen on the right side. I don't know if that's necessarily true. And I think that Schneider could play the left side as well. I know he's a right shot. I would prefer him on the right side, but I think that he could play on the left if need be as well. He's just that skilled and obviously just had surgery. He's going to be ready to go next season. But I don't think, trading, I don't think Schneider's a guy that you trade in this scenario. But again, Isaac Howard is not signing in Tampa Bay, and a lot of teams will probably look to make this call before July 1st. That's the other thing. A lot of teams around the league, the fact that this came out, are going to be in on this player, and I think the Rangers, with how much younger they're getting, obviously, and we don't know what's going to happen with Zibanejad and Kreider. They could get a lot younger, much quicker than any of us think, right? So this is a player that I think can make an impact in the NHL in a year's time from now. It doesn't look like he's going to come to the NHL next season. Sounds like he's going to finish out one more season in the NCAA. But again, he goes on to say that the Rangers can use an impactful player on a very cheap contract like Howard while freeing up $2 million in cap space to help the left side of the defense out in free agency. Now, and he also goes on to, say that they can go into free agency and obviously, bolster up the defense, which they can, but I don't think you free up $2 million worth of cap space by trading Braden Schneider. That's not for me. But again, this is a very similar situation to Rucker McGroarty, if anyone remembers that situation earlier this past season where, he said he wasn't going to sign with the Winnipeg Jets, and then the Pittsburgh Penguins swooped in there and said, we will take this great young player because we're actively wanting to get younger as a team. Rangers are in a similar situation. They have some veterans as well. They're a little bit younger, the Rangers are, than the Pittsburgh Penguins in their core. So I think that this could make a lot of sense. And again, it's the same situation like a Cutter Gauthier, like Adam Fox with the New York Rangers, right? And the Calgary Flames, years ago at this point. Brock Faber, just to name a few other players. So the Rangers should absolutely be all over this. And now there's a lot of speculation in terms of, this is a weird situation. He was drafted a couple years ago, and we'll get into the player now, right? I want to get into his stats and stuff like that. And another quote from Tampa Bay as well. This is a player who will make a difference once he makes it to the NHL. He's not the biggest guy, which is something that I know a lot of you are going to be rolling your eyes at, looking at your TV screen, your phone screen, wherever you're watching right now. But in 37 games played this past season, 52 points. And like I keep saying in these videos, you look at these, numbers, these stats from guys who are playing in the OHL or the CHL as a whole, let's say as an example, and they have like these crazy numbers, 120 points in 60 games. It's a lot easier to score in those leagues than it is to score in the NCAA. So putting up these numbers, if you're over a point a game player, or even, like he is here, almost 20 points up, you're a great player. You're going to be, it's going to translate to the NHL in due time. And again, it's not like you're throwing a 19-year-old into the NHL either. He's 21 years old. He's going to be 22. And, by the time he makes it to the NHL, could be 23. And I think this is, again, something that the Rangers should be all over, because I don't think it's going to cost an arm and a leg or anything like that. I think that you can get him for a very reasonable price, and he can end up being a really, really good player for you down the road. So, again, a lot of speculation as to, it's a weird situation. Maybe you don't want to trust trading for this player. You don't know what's happening behind the scenes, stuff like that. But, this is from the Tampa Bay Lightning as well, that they had regular communication with him and his agent throughout the years, and the development staff, spent a lot of time with him and all their prospects. So there's been communications, not the thing where they got completely shut out or anything like that. So I don't know if there's anything going on behind the scenes that they should be worried about. The Rangers, this is. So maybe, pull the trigger on a move like that. And I wanted to get into, the Rangers have a ton of cap space going into next season, about 8.4 right now. Doesn't seem like a lot, honestly. They're going to have to make a move. It might be Chris Kreider to free up 6.5. You still need to sign Keandre Miller and a few other players like Matt Rempe, just to name a few. So they have, a little bit of cap space, but they have some players that they need to move off of as well. And then, salary cap's going up crazy the next couple of years. So adding a player like this on an ELC or something like that could really help this lineup in a couple years. So, and for those of you who are wondering why he doesn't want to sign in Tampa Bay, it just seems like he does not, believe in the organization, but doesn't want to play for that organization, would rather play somewhere else. And, a lot of players and a lot of prospects do want to play in New York, so it could be an interesting avenue. And, Julien Brisebois, the GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning, went on to say, the reality is we haven't been able to come to an agreement that is mutually acceptable. If that doesn't change, he will become a free agent on August 15th. Of 2026. If that were the case, we're going to receive a comp pick, a second round pick in 2027. So he also came out, and the reason this is becoming a big deal right now, the GM of Tampa Bay, Julien Brisebois, did come out and say, we're actively going to try and trade him this summer, so we're not wasting time. We want an asset in return, right? So it's going to become a story very quickly here. And again, a bunch of Twitter users are saying, honestly, glad we aren't signing Isaac Howard. Something seems off about him. There's comparisons on the other side of things that a lot of teams should be interested, because, there's comparisons to Braden Point, great player. Friedman was also saying that, he wants to go back to school next season, then become a free agent after next year and choose his team. Brisebois is getting a lot of calls, teams checking in to see what he's thinking right now. So the thing is, he probably has a team in mind, right? If this were to go that route and he became a free agent next year and he just signed with whatever team, why not let them know ahead of time? You can trade for him, and then obviously they have your rights and you can get a contract done. So I think the Rangers should be in on this. I do believe that. Let me know in the comments what you think about a player like this joining the Rangers. And again, I wouldn't trade Braden Schneider for him, I'll tell you that, but I don't think you're going to have to trade a first-round pick or anything like that to be able to acquire him at this point in time, because the Bolts are kind of in a weird situation where they know he's going to walk, essentially, not for nothing. They're going to get a comp pick in return, but he's going to leave. They're not going to get him, in the organization. So very interesting situation. I think a lot of teams like Pittsburgh are going to be involved as well, and I think the Rangers should absolutely be involved in this and try to obtain his services via trade. Or, you can wait till next year too if you want to, but why not get it done now? Maybe he moves pro. I think the biggest reason he wants to go back to the NCAA next year is so then his contract expires and he can sign wherever he wants. If he ends up going via trade to wherever he wants, which is the reason I think that they brought this up right now, maybe he can make the jump to pro next season, right? So I think it's an interesting idea for the New York Rangers. Let me know in the comments what you think, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.